Hey everybody, it's Travis from Apex Predator Outdoors. I was going to do a quick review today of my Martin Archery Max 33. I've been testing this in the field for about 6 months now, and I've been really putting it through its paces. I'm not made of money or anything. I'm just doing this for fun. I love archery, I love hunting, and so I really wanted to go and get a bow that not only I could afford, but that's going to give me the most features and the most bang for my buck per se. So I landed here at the Max 33. I had actually changed up from a Martin Blade X4, which was my previous hunting bow, which I really loved. It was kind of a budget or entry level hunting bow, but for everything that you got for the price, it was definitely worth every penny. And I feel like that has really been kind of Martin's thing for a long time now. You get an amazing bow and a lot of features for really a minuscule price compared to things like when you see Hoyt and Matthew's name on it. It usually ends up costing a lot more. Now those are great bows, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to diminish their quality or anything, but they're definitely very proud of what they sell as well. As is Martin, because they put a lot of good quality, they put a lot of time into getting the quality of the bows up there with all of those other brands. And again, you can get the same features and some similar quality for a fraction of the price with these bows. So what do we got here? So this is the Martin Max 33. Okay, this is the Treason early season camo. All right, this has several really unique features. Basically with the cam system, this is their Helix cam system here. So basically the way the cam works, several of the neat features on it is, one, it's really easy to adjust the draw stop and the draw length of the bow through these modules here on either cam of the bow. There's usually just 2 set screws here, okay? There's 2 set screws on either side. Allows for easy adjustment. Next on these cams, you've got the Helix groove. The Helix groove is amazing because basically what it does is, instead of having the string or the cable here pull on just one side of the cam. So if you got your cam here, right, it's got a roller bearing through the middle, which is another feature here. The roller bearing allows for really smooth, really clean draws. But with this Helix groove in there, instead of the cam or the string turning over the cam in a straight line, which, if you've got all the torque on one side of this here, it can cause a little bit of twisting of the cam, right? Well, this Helix groove here, what it does is basically when you come to full draw, it puts all the draw and all the pressure and everything into the middle of the cam there. So it kind of allows it to take cam lean out of the equation. Before, that was always a kind of a pain on a lot of bows, where you had to really, get in there and tune the cams to try to fix all these different things. And it's still not 100% impervious to that, but it really makes it super easy. So when I first got this bow, completely unset up and everything, I went in there and I went to the shop, and after shooting and putting the rest on, putting all the accessories on, shot a few arrows, moved the rest around a little bit, and that was pretty much it. I think we took 1/2 of a twist out of the string here just to kind of compensate for the, a little bit of a tear in it. But other than that, it was super easy to set up. That's all it took, was one little adjustment there. Okay, so this is again a hybrid cam system. So I've got one cam here. This cam here is not an identical cam, right? But it is. This is a whole system as it goes. So the draw on this bow, because of these cams, because of the roller bearings, is very smooth. It doesn't have much of a valley, but that really kind of helps with other things. So it's got a hollow carbon fiber cable guide. The cable guard itself, I've actually had to change out. So the original one that came on from the factory, whenever we were pulling it back at the bow shop, I could actually see it chattering across the cable slide here. So I ended up replacing it with the Saunders Hyper Slide, and it's been pretty great after that. So the reason I replaced it there is I could have just lubricated it and it would have been fine. But again, I didn't want to add anything that's going to smell to my bow. Also, didn't want to have to constantly lubricate it. And this Saunders Hyper Slide has been pretty good ever since. A couple of things that I would change about the bow. One is the grip. It's got a pretty decent grip. The shape is nice, fits in the hand well. But one of the things about this bow is it's got an all aluminum riser. It's milled out of one piece of solid aluminum. So what that does is when it's cold outside, like right now it's about 40 degrees outside. If I were to have my bow out there for any period of time, it's going to be frigid. It's like holding a piece of ice in my hand. So what I did is I just took a little bit of this cohesive wrap in a camouflage pattern, and I wrapped it up, and that helps keep it from getting cold, and it really doesn't help me, or it really doesn't make me apply any additional torque into the bow here. So on that note, with the aluminum riser, you know, a lot of newer bows are having carbon risers in them, and the carbon riser is a great system because it makes the bow very lightweight. So with the carbon riser, the downfall is that it adds, whenever you come to draw, it's possible to get torque in the bow a lot easier than it is with an aluminum riser. The aluminum riser just has a lot more rigidity into it. With this bow, the bare bow package is about 3.9 pounds, which is the same thing as the Hoyt Carbon RX1, which I believe weighs almost about the same. It's like 3.7 to 3.9 pounds, okay? So again, this being milled from a solid piece of aluminum weighs the same amount as Hoyt's you know, high-end carbon bow. So again, all in all, really good features, really cheap price comparatively. If you're in the market for a high-end bow, but you're on a budget, this is one that I would really highly recommend. So after getting the bow set up and put it through the chronograph, I'm shooting about 292 feet per second. So this is a very fast bow. I know a lot of people say, okay, well, it's too much dependence on speed. Speed is not an issue. Okay, I agree in some extent, but at the same time, I was watching a video on Growing Deer channel. Go over there and check it out. I'll leave a link in the description for it. But basically what they did is they did tests, and they found that a deer at 40 yards, 35 yards, can 100% duck an arrow. So it can literally drop to the ground and completely dodge an arrow by the time it gets there, right? So that's where speed comes into play. Whenever you've got an animal that's very jumpy and you know, they're eager to just always just kind of on edge, speed does matter. That's why we want speed. So speed is the third line of importance on my list of things on the bow. One being accuracy, two being, you know, ease of shooting or shootability, and then three being speed. So I definitely like that it is a fast bow. It's a very flat shooting bow. And again, that comes from it not really having a valley. So bows that have a really long valley tend to be a little bit slower, but it's kind of nice because it allows you to kind of hold that, allows you to kind of ease into that back wall whenever you're drawing. Whereas this bow, it's definitely got a very stiff back wall and it has no valley. So you kind of come to a full draw and it locks in real quick into that back wall. So just something to think about. I know it's gonna be a hotly debated topic, but speed does matter. So with this bow, with this system, again, not very much of a back wall there. So whenever I pull up to full draw, it's a nice, firm, hard back wall, which I love because of the limb stop instead of a cable stop. So if you don't know the difference, a limb stop is whenever you got this little knob here, it's usually on the cam, and whenever the cam rolls over, it hits this limb here, and that stops the draw. This provides a really strong, firm back wall, which is great. So a few modifications I've added to the bow to make it, you know, shoot a little bit better for me. One being I just added a little bit more dampening to it. From the factory, this is a very silent bow, and I didn't really have any issues there. Second of all, like I said, I've added the cohesive wrap here just to make it a little bit warmer in the hand. And also I've added a couple strips of limb saver material here. So my previous bow that I shot was the Martin Blade X4. And the great thing about it was that it had a vibration dampened shelf right out of the gate, right from the factory. I wish they would have continued that over here. So it was just a pretty simple fix. I just put a couple pieces of limb saver material on there. And you know, that just makes it to where I don't really get any vibrations or a loud click whenever I, you know, let the shot go. Other than that, I've just added a stabilizer. From the factory, it was very well balanced in the hand, and it came with the RRAD weight distribution system. I do have a complaint about the RRAD system though. It sounded like a really good idea and I really liked it. I really liked the concept of it rather, but the problem was in the execution. No matter how hard I tightened these things down, they always buzzed. They kept buzzing and vibrating. And so eventually I went and I got some wrenches and I torqued them down as tight as I possibly could. And then one of them broke. So in the end, Like I say, it was really nice to get that kind of plumb bob effect. If you want, you can, put the heavier weight down here so that the bow kind of naturally just sits a little bit more level in your hand. But all in all, I just took it off because it wasn't working for me. Anything that makes my bow louder, makes it unnecessarily heavier, I'm not going to use. So any other questions you have, just leave below in the comments and I'll check y'all next time.
May have pressed it. It's gone down a little bit, but it's still a major flood state and will probably stay there all the way through tomorrow. So here's the latest from the National Weather Service. The current level, 39.6 feet, and the flood is continuing all the way down toward Kingsland. The Farm to Market Road 2900 bridge is closed in Kingsland. The 1431 bridge is about to be closed. The water get higher and higher. The city park in Lano underwater. There's some homes now along the river. 39 degrees outside.